And I'm sorry, it's what time is this? 12:35 p.m. here on Friday. Time flies, doesn't it? Time flies really fast. You don't think about it, but time goes like really fast. It seemed like yesterday I was 10 years old. Nah, kidding, but time does fly. It's like my friend said the other day, if you could take 80 calendars and line them up, put them on one wall, each year you pass that year, the 17th year, 18th year, 20th year, and you get to 40, 50, 60. Then you look at all the calendars left on the wall. Not too much left. Okay, so today we're going to talk about living in the Philippines and what's going on today. What's happening? What's going on here today? What's new? We got quite a few new things to talk about today. It's just really just coffee time. Coffee time means we talk just about anything and everything we want to talk about. And then hopefully we answer some of the things that I get questions about. People want follow-ups on the American that got taken for $300,000. And how in the world could someone do that? It just happens. It happens. It's some money, and I was one of the ones too. He's doing well. He didn't get any of his money back. He's taken her to court. They signed a agreement that they'll pay the money back. Of course, they're not going to pay it back. There's no way in the world they can pay that money back. So what are you going to say? He's just doing fine. He says, I'm doing fine. What do you expect me to say? I lost $300,000. So, of course, he's back in the States. He's working again. All right, so SIM cards. We have new things going on here right now. You got to pre-register all your phones. Every phone that you have, it has a SIM card in it, and those SIM cards have to be registered. And registered means is like it is in the States. Name, address, phone number, where do you live, contact, of course they know the phone number, contact, and your name, and some type of ID. Excuse me, the ID has to be, it has to be a 2 megabyte pixel, 2 megabyte picture. And so you're going to have to do a little research on that. It's a very small picture, but you need to have that and ID to register your phone. Thank goodness I have Ruth in the house. She did our phones. Me and Ruth have 2 phones each. Reason why we have it's just the older phone that we had, and we just bought a new one, as you guys know, recently. RR has 2 phones because the one that she had was one I bought is a Samsung A1, and she dropped it. Still a phone number there. And then, of course, she got a new one for Christmas. So they're all registered now. We're all ready to rock and roll. And registration process can be complicated. Now you have until actually, they tell you have to do it by December the 31st, but some of the vloggers misspoke on some of that. You got until the April to finish all of that. So it gives you time that you can get that done. A lot of times what happens is you read something in the paper and think it's the way it's supposed to be, but then you find out it's not supposed to be that way. They said first it had to be done by December 31st, and it doesn't have to be done by December 31st. I mean, my phone was still working as of yesterday until she logged it in. April was the date that said on the newspaper. Okay, so also too, I was going to talk about is we're talking about SIM cards. We're talking about people ask me sometimes, monthly expenses, has it changed? Yes, it's changed. And it still costs, you're still going to pay. If you come here with $1,500 in your pocket a month coming in from different sources, you can survive here okay. But have a backup of money. And I always suggest this now. People say, what is a good amount? Well, I don't know what's a good amount for you, your age, your health, how you're feeling, if you plan on buying a lot, land, car, boat, whatever you plan on doing, you're going to need money for that. And then if you do get married, what if something happens to you tomorrow? Is your wife going to be taken care of, and the children? If she has stepchildren, you have stepchildren that are her children, or if you're doing so, $250,000. $250,000. People say, there's no way in the world. Well, you know what? Okay, 100,000. A lot, a land, building a house, getting a car. It's going to eat up a lot of that. Because even this house I'm sitting in right now costs $10,000. And you go buy a car for $10,000. There's $20,000 of your 100 already. And that's not counting the lots. Lot's going to cost you $2,500 each minimum. Minimum. You may spend, and in mine, I have 2 lots. So 3, 6, 9,000 on some lots. You want them big enough that you can grow a garden and have food. Maybe you want some more land. So there you go. So there is, say, there's another $10,000, $15,000 gone. So you're right now you're 35,000 of your 100 grand. And life in general, and you got to fix the lot and put a fence on, and you got to do all kinds of stuff. So just say another 5 grand on top of that, just because of life. Fence cost me $1,000 to have it put up, and it's a really horrible fence. Steel's gone up, so you're going to spend a big bulk of that kind of getting yourself reestablished. Because if you are like most Americans, they sold everything when they left the States. Okay, so they have a big thing of cash, right? Because you sold your house, your car, your motorcycle, everything that you have. And you come here with the cash, well, you're going to have to reinvest all that back in. You're going to need to buy tools if you didn't bring tools. You're going to need to buy, because you're still going to need a pair of pliers. You're still going to need a hammer and some nails, and you're still going to need a pair of gloves. You're still going to need a lot of things. I mean, even these, a little old $4 or $5, you don't believe it or not, these things are $4 in town. You buy them in the States for 10 for $5. Eyeglasses, just cheap readers. So that kind of tells us a lot right there. So monthly expenses can vary a lot on this. It can really, that's a lot. Okay, e-bike. Next thing on the thing we're going to talk about e-bike. We still have our e-bikes. I still have one. It's not running well. We still have the other one. We don't drive them as much as we used to drive them. If we need, we ride a tricycle. The reason why we don't drive them as much is because we've had so many incidents. Incidents where people have run into us, or people run us off the road, or just in general. And I'm talking, listen, people say, okay, I'm safe wherever I go, everything's fine, all these other vloggers are saying this, but until it actually happens to you, you might find a situation where you go, huh, I guess that person didn't like me, or I guess that person wanted to run over me, or whatever. And, it's just life. No matter where you go throughout the world, it's just going to be that way. So you just deal with it. But we decided not to ride them because it's more safer in a tricycle, even though that's not safe. And I always say I'm going to buy a tank here. If I buy me a tank, no worries. I just drive it down the road. The gas mileage would kill me, but you don't have to worry about it running into you there. If they run into you, they'll bounce right back off. But then you have to be prepared for this. If you do that, get an accident, and if it's your fault, they can confiscate your car until you get everything resolved. And that's the thing you don't want. And so that's another reason why the bikes are parked. Even though we're licensed, the bikes aren't licensed because there's no combustible motor on there. So there's no motor, so it's battery. So you don't have to have it licensed. It's called light licensing. You don't have to have it licensed. But on a regular car, of course, you have to have a license, a driver's license. You can go down and get one, and then you're set. Another thing that we're talking about here, I want to talk about a few minutes, is locations to live. I forgot what it was. Locations to live. Say for instance, you want to come to the Philippines. You have to first decide that, over 7,000 islands, where you want to live. It's entirely up to you. You like beach, sun, and fun. And then you can go over here, you can go over here, and you can go over here. There's many beautiful places to check out first before you make any decisions on buying any land. I would suggest you do that, boots on the ground. Run around, drive around, figure out what's going on with that, and then figure it out, because you don't think about it. One of the things that really kind of gets you is looking for something, trying to find that good piece of property. Make sure that it's a true title. Make sure that person actually owns that property and house when you're doing that, and make sure that it's actually theirs. So many stories on that. I've done multiple videos on that. Okay, mail forwarding. Do you really need it? Actually, you do. You need some type of address, whether it's your brother, cousin, mother, sister, someone to accept your mail and send you your cards, your credit card statements, send you your statements maybe for Social Security, send you important mail or important checks, or deposit your checks for you. You need someone in the States that actually do that. There are mail order services that will actually help with this, but here is the problem. Here is the problem. The 5873 form. 5873 form is the form you must have notarized. In order to notarize that form, you have to be either online. They have online notaries now. You can be online. But you have to have 2 forms. In fact, I'm going to do a whole video on this when I get done with this. 5873. You have to have 2 forms of ID. I have a passport and I have a driver's license. They don't accept passports. Well, it's either one of those. Okay, you have to have one of those. Either or. But they need an address in the States that you receive in mail, like a power bill, something in your name with a power bill with your street address on. Well, if your brother's house, the power bill is the mom and daddy's name and your brother, cousin, sister. So you don't have a street address. I said, well, I have a bank statement. I was trying to get a mail forwarding, and they said that won't work either. It's just to my house. It's from my brother's house. No, it won't work. Bank statements they don't accept. So there's certain things they accept. Voter's registration card. Anyway, you have to show a proof of residence. So there you go. So law eliminates a lot of these mail forwarding companies are getting that mail forwarding. They changed a lot of that, and that's one of the things they changed. So be prepared for that. So it's almost like, well, you have to have almost someone in the States now to do mail forwarding. Unbelievable, right? Medical. How in the world, what is going on with the medical, Tom? What in the world's happening to all those Americans there and no medical? Not even though they have medical. What is going on? Well, what's happening is a lot of the hospitals have decided themselves internally and externally. Internally meaning they decided, even though we're in the program, even though it says in the book, and in fact, I have a book right here. Even though we're in the book, and we're in a book with good health, and we're listed in here as one of the places that you can go, does not mean they accept you anyway. Just because it says it here, don't mean it's true in the health. So what that means is this. A lot of them pre-COVID, the hospitals have no money. And they're funded by whatever agency. Some are funded privately, some are funded government-wise, some are funded by the province, some are funded by whatever. That's the reason you see that all of them are dilapidated down, not painted in some of the areas, especially here in the province where I live. So you'll find yourself in a situation where you may or may not take the insurance. You'll have to do your due diligence and figure that out yourself. Because even where I'm at, it changes all the time. They'll accept me, not accept me, accept me, not accept me, accept me, not accept me. So which one is true? Well, I can get in the hospital with Philly Health because I have Philly Health. Grandfathered in on Ruth's policy. But then, if I haven't, I can get in, but paying the bill, you better have some cash. Or a credit card. And so they look at that. And they'll check your credit card sometimes to make sure you have money on it. All right. People are saying, okay, I want to buy a car. I want to get something. I want to drive something. You know, I need a vehicle of some kind. I need something that I can get around the country and have a good time. What do I do? What about a multi-cab? Okay. Multi-cab is really a great choice because they can work on the motors anywhere. Because everybody has multi-cab. And you can get parts for multi-cabs. They're great. Not everyone has the aircon though. So it's just fan and a small box in the front, and they're mostly trucks. But if you get a multi-cab with a van, like a van, some will have air, some won't have air. But you can get a multi-cab. Those are nice and you can get around it. For cars, you're going to have to spend anywhere from $10, $15, $20,000 on. So that's up to you and how much you can afford. A lot of people say, okay, they finance me. They'll finance you. You just have to submit a lot of paperwork. My friend said yesterday, a good friend of mine, George, is telling that you put 50% down, they'll finance it. So you want to finance a car, you put 10 grand down, they'll finance the other 10. And it's not the rates are really different here, and how they do rates is way different. Don't miss a payment. Is all I have to say. You miss one payment, they come get the car. So if it's due on the 1st, you pay on the 1st. If it's due on the 31st, you pay on the 31st. If it comes the 2nd, they'll have a car. They'll come get it. So it's sad, right? Sad to say. Medical. I'm sorry, but I want to talk about some of these things because everybody's asking me. Okay, SIM cards. Okay, so basically I talked about everything I wanted to talk about today. I want to thank everybody for always coming on and watching my podcast. Sorry it's kind of short today, and I normally go on for another 10, 15 minutes, but that's all my notes said. See, I wrote it down. I was actually going to talk about something else today, but changed my mind, and I'm going to do a video on Tom and Ruth on it. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Tom and Ruth Podcast.